Hey guys, welcome to the Massive Iron Channel. I'm Steve Shaw. In this video, we're going to travel back in time and I'm going to show you when body part splits used to be normal and when frequency training was controversial. Before I get into this topic, if you guys need coaching, check out the link below. Coaching is what I do for a living. I would love to work with you. All right, so I put together a PDF here. It is basically a collection of quotes from interviews that I had when I worked at Muscle and Strength. One of my first major jobs in the industry was working with Muscle and Strength. I believe I started working with them around 2008, and my job was to do content development. I would work with natural bodybuilders. I would work with figure competitors, fitness competitors. I'd work with body transformation stories. And back then, there wasn't any bias. No one was really worried about how anybody trained, whether it was full body or frequency or body part split. We just tossed out the questions and people answered honestly. Now, what I want to show you here isn't trying to persuade you to switch over to a body part split. What I want to show you is that before the modern era where frequency kind of took its hold with the lifting community, body part splits were the normal for natural champions, and they were seeing the same type of results that everybody is seeing nowadays. One of the messages I try to preach, because I have the luxury of looking at the history of bodybuilding, is that it doesn't matter how you train, as long as you train hard and you train consistent over a long period of time. Doesn't matter if you're using a body part split. Doesn't matter if you're using frequency training. Just train hard, and over the long run, split doesn't matter. Now, I know this is a controversial statement, and again, I'm not here to persuade you. I'm just here to present information. Probably 60% of my clients use some form of frequency training. Probably about 30% use a body part split, and maybe about 10% use a complete full body. Now, before I dive in, I want to paint a little bit of a picture. When I started at Muscle and Strength, I had my own forum called Muscle and Brawn, and back then we were looking at programs from guys in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and 70s. And one of the things we were telling people back then was that a full body approach or frequency training was viable for naturals. This might sound backwards, but I was telling people at the time, hey, you can use frequency training. It was such a controversial statement, just to kind of frame this a little bit, that the forum administrator, who was also a bodybuilder in England, asked for me to be fired because I was pushing such nonsense statements. So let's dive into things. I'm going to show you guys some natural champions: Mr. Minnesota, Mr. North Carolina, Mr. Universe, Mr. Olympia, Mr. Every damn thing. Let's take a look. Now, first off, we have Sean Clarita, the Giant Killer. Me and Sean go way back. I interviewed him a couple of times when I was at Muscle and Strength. He was a natural champion way back when. You guys know him now because he competes in the Mr. Olympia. And we're not going to go in depth into what they did, but I'm just going to take a brief look. Sean says, I follow a simple bodybuilding split, training one body part per day. My sessions typically last 2 to 2.5 hours. But during the season, they can extend up to 3.5 hours, including cardio and ab work. Sean's weekly training split was Monday, chest and calves, Tuesday, arms and forearms, Wednesday, legs, Thursday, shoulders and calves, Friday, back and forearms, and Saturday, rest or anything else he feels like doing. You can see a very classic bodybuilding bro split. All right, so here we have Chad, not related. Chad says, here's my current split. Week 1, and Chad was a natural bodybuilder. Week 1, I will train chest and back on Wednesday, then quads and calves on Saturday. Week 2, I will train biceps and triceps on Wednesday, and then hammies and calves on Saturday. So pretty much a body part split, but it is combining chest and back. Week 3, I will train shoulders on Wednesday, and then quads and calves again on Saturday. So he says, after that, I will begin that 3-week rotation all over again, but only I will train hamstrings on the Saturday workout. So I train quads and hamstrings every other week, and back, chest, arms, and shoulders get trained just once every 3 weeks. So I train quadriceps and hamstrings every other week, and back, chest, arms, and shoulders get trained just once every 3 weeks. So body part split and kind of the very opposite of frequency training, if you will. All right, so here we have Scott Galton, a British champion, British natural bodybuilding champion. Currently, I train with a 4-day split every 9 days. Day 1 is chest and arms. Day 3, back. Day 5, shoulders, calves, and abs. And day 9, legs. Scott says, I like the fact that I can hit my body part really hard and be in and out of the gym in 45 minutes to an hour. All right, so here is Jesse Dale, a bodybuilder and a bodybuilding promoter. The model of training I mainly follow is a holistic training or muscle fiber type training. This entails selecting 3 exercises per body part. So we're looking at a body part split and performing 3 sets each. So basically 3 sets, 3 exercises by 3 sets. He goes on to say after warm-ups. He does 5 to 7 very explosive reps as heavy as possible with little eccentrics. The next exercise, he executes 3 sets of 9 to 12 reps in a slower, more rhythmic pattern. And then he ends the 3rd exercise with very high reps, up to 40. Curiously enough, this is very close to the power muscle burn, power muscle block system, where you do sets of heavy work, sets of volume work, and then sets of burn or pump type of work. All right, now we have Mr. North Carolina, Joe Arablo. I want you guys to know that I didn't just interview these guys from a phone. I would travel across the United States, and the next couple of guys, Joe Arablo, Ty Din, and even Stu Yellen, I met in person, and I filmed them on video for Muscle and Strength. And you can check out all this content at Muscle and Strength, or you can check out the videos on the Muscle and Strength YouTube. Now, Big Joe says this is how the split works. Day 1, legs with a quad focus. This means I do quads and hamstrings, but I do more for quads than hammy whammies. Day 2, chest, side and rear delts, and lower abs. Day 3, back and calves. Day 4, off. Day 5, legs with a hamstring focus. Day 6, arms. And day 7, traps and side and rear delts with calves and some abs. Pretty packed day for Mr. North Carolina. Now, Ty Din, I actually traveled to Minnesota to interview Mr. Minnesota, Ty Din. I typically train with high volume. I do believe it is essential to train in a sort of way, heavyweight, fewer reps, lightweight, more reps, negative supersets, drop sets, etc. I also vary my rest depending on if I'm prepping for a show, etc., etc. So his split is Monday, chest and hamstrings, Tuesday, back and calves, Thursday, arms, triceps and biceps, Friday, shoulders and traps, and Saturday, quads and abs. So very classic body part split. All right, so here we have Roger Waters, Mr. Natural Olympia, Mr. Natural Universe. I'm not going to go through all of his exercise selection, but you can see chest on Monday, legs on Tuesday, back and biceps on Wednesday, delts and triceps on Thursday. So very much a classic body part split. Here we have Larry Burt, 3 decades as a natural and a natural competitor. He says, my favorite 4-day split is day 1, chest and biceps, day 2, back and triceps, day 3, quads, hammies, and calves, day 4, delts and traps, and then he would train abs on every workout day. So I'm not sure how he scheduled rest days, but his regular training days were very much a body part split. And now we have Stu Yellen. Stu Yellen, I call Mr. T-Nation. He was very involved with the T-Nation forum back in the day. I got to spend a lot of time with Stu. I have a lot of respect for Stu. He says, well, I've been through many different splits and training approaches over the years. Here's what I'm currently doing in an off-season approach, although I'm not sure it'll be different in a month from now. Day 1, chest and calves. Day 2, back and biceps. Day 3, delts, traps, and triceps. And day 4, legs. All right, guys, there you have it. I just went through some of my interviews at Muscle and Strength. I didn't really cherry pick. I think there was only one person or maybe 2 people out of all the interviews that I did at Muscle and Strength that used some form of frequency training. When I say 98, 99% of trainees back then used a body part split, I'm not kidding. It was the normal. You can see pretty much every natural champion was using a body part split. The take-home message here is simple, and it's something I push on my Massive Iron channel over and over again. Use a training split and approach that works for you. Things come and go in this industry, and that's the big picture I want to share with you guys. Right now, we are locked in kind of an era where everybody is drunk on frequency. Before that, we were locked in an era where everyone was drunk on body part splits. And the one thing we can learn from all of this is it doesn't really matter how you train. These guys are not any better or any worse in frequency training. It's all about training hard, being consistent, nailing your bulk, and being patient. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.